the English, please.
I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Okay, so we'll continue our reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, entitled Dhyana Yoga.
Chapter
Dhyana
6.
Yoga. Yeah, chapter 6. So dhyana means meditation. So we've been hearing a lot about how the yogis would sit down in a quiet place in the forest and meditate and control their breathing and their mind and so many things.
So just tell me, sorry, 6 what?
Yeah.
What is it? 6?
Yeah, this is text 44 today.
44?
Text 44 of the 6th chapter. But now, this later part of the 6th chapter, Arjuna's raised the question, a concern that he has, that if he leaves his material duties and takes up the spiritual path towards Krishna consciousness, then all well and good if he's successful in Krishna consciousness, he'll get liberated, go back to Godhead. But what if he's not successful? What will happen to him? And will he become like a riven cloud, he says? It means nowhere to go. So Krishna reassured Arjuna that he's got nothing at all to worry about, because even if he's not successful spiritually, he's going to have be born in a much better situation in his next life. So it's only upwards, onwards and upwards. He's going to have a better birth in his next life. So nothing to worry about. And that will help him to progress even further. Say we make it 30% in this life in our spiritual credits. So you'll start off in your next life at 30%, not at 0, but 30. And then you make it up to 60%. And then you'll start off in your next life at 60%, not 0. So you're always getting closer and closer to the goal. Whereas materially, that's not the case. If you're like Bill Gates or whatever, multi-billionaire and everything, aristocracy and all that kind of stuff, then you start off in your next life from 0. You might even take birth as an animal or a worm or something. So you can easily go backwards materially. But and like one astrologer said, one Indian politician, Nehru, he went from being born in a Brahmin family and a big politician. He was a close associate of Gandhi. So really good birth. And his next life, because of his activities and doing some not so good politics, then he became a dog in his next life. So he went way down in a very cold country in Scandinavia, the astrologer said. So materially, we can easily go backwards, but spiritually, it's only going forward. So there's nothing to worry about. We should just be wholeheartedly very enthusiastic in our Krishna consciousness, knowing that the Lord Krishna, he's protecting us. He's maintaining us and protecting us. He vows and promises that his devotee will never perish. His devotee will never perish. So that's the fact. Okay, so let's read the Sanskrit and then the English and see where it goes. Okay, text 44. Purvabhyasena tenaiva kriyate hyavasho pisa.
Kriyate layavaso prisa.
So with this word hy, he, you join it on to the next word avasho. So you go kriyate yavasho. So you join the H goes on the end of hriyate, so hriyate, then yavasho.
Kriyate yavasho.
Kriyate yavasho pisa.
Yeah.
So we'll start again. Purvabhyasena tenaiva.
Pravasya. Read Sena Tina. It's too high.
That's okay. Practice. Priyate hyavasho pisa.
See Prisa.
Jijnasurapi yogasya.
Jinatsurapi yogasya.
Shabda brahmativatate.
Shabda brahmativatate.
Okay. That's okay. It's a bit of a tongue twister. That's okay. Okay, Bob, you're on. So you can read the English translation, please.
By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures.
So this Bhagavad Gita is just so far advanced compared to any other religious or spiritual texts. Because here we can see it's talking about reincarnation, right? By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life. So it's talking about that we have a previous life. So that's reincarnation. So it's not just one life. If you look at Western science, what are they all thinking?
The fact that we don't come back once we die.
Yeah, according to Western science, Western knowledge, Western philosophers, that we just live one life. This is the only life between birth and death, and there's nothing before that, nothing after that. And even if you look at Christianity and Muslim and so many things like that, they also don't give any idea about reincarnation. It is said that reincarnation used to be mentioned in the Bible, but some evil persons like King Constantine, he removed all the mentions of reincarnation. But in any case, at this point in time, this Bhagavad Gita is just far, far advanced, giving us far, far advanced knowledge, giving us a conclusive understanding that the soul is eternal. That's the very beginning of the Krishna's instructions in the second chapter, as the soul is eternal and the body's just like a dress, a temporary dress for the soul. And when this dress is no longer any use, this body, then we get a new dress. Isn't it like you change your garments? You get out of your day clothes and get into your pajamas, and then out of your pajamas into your next day's clothes. So like that, the soul is changing bodies, just like changing garments. So this completely changes our outlook on life. And then, because when you think there's just one life, then what is your goal going to be? When you think there's just one life, there's nothing after death, what's your goal going to be?
Certainly wouldn't care about the end result, would you?
Yeah. What do you care about if it's just one life?
Enjoying as much as
just enjoy sex, drugs, rock and roll, eat, drink, and be merry, and you're not worried about karma. That there's reactions to activities, because it's all over when the body dies. There's no karma, there's no reactions. But as soon as you become aware that this is a cycle and we're changing bodies life after life, then karma comes into play along with the reincarnation, that there's reactions to our activities. As you sow, so shall you reap. What goes around comes around. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So then you start to want to be careful about what activities you do. You don't want to do anything that's going to affect your next life. You want to progress, you want to go upwards, you don't want to go downwards. So you're going to be more careful about what you do, and you're going to try to do activities that help you to go to a better place like that. And so this is saying here in this verse, that I've just got this whistling wind going on in the background. It's disturbing my mind.
I can see it out of your window.
Yeah, things are like blowing around, like the building is shaking and everything. So my mind is like spinning around, I think, because of the wind is going on. But anyway, we'll pray to Krishna to please help us to control the mind, which Krishna says earlier on is like the wind. He compares the mind as, Arjuna says the mind is like the wind. So I'm experiencing that at the moment. So yeah, it's saying in this verse that someone that's done spiritual activities in his previous life, which here it's talking about yoga principles. So what does yoga mean? Yoga means to connect the soul with the Supreme Soul, to connect us, the soul, with God. That a process which is linking or connecting the soul with God, that's called yoga. So when it's talking about automatically becomes attracted to yogic principles, it doesn't mean automatically you become attracted to doing yoga postures and breathing exercises and things, but it's talking about we're automatically attracted to those principles that help to give us knowledge about God, help to develop our love for God, those principles that help us reawaken our love for God. So automatically attracted to that. We're automatically attracted to those things that awaken our love for God if we've already done it in the last life. So if you've been practicing activities to love God, bhakti yoga in your last life, automatically you'll be attracted to activities that help you love God in this life. So it depends on what you've been practicing in your last life. Because at first, if you look at the word for word definition, purva means previous. So in your previous life, what abhyasana means by practice. So that's whatever you practiced in your previous life, whatever your activities or your practices were in your last life. If you practice chanting Hare Krishna in your last life, you'll easily slot in to chanting Hare Krishna in this life. If you haven't, then it may be difficult. If you've practiced chanting these verses in your last life, you'll very easily be able to chant these verses in this life. If you haven't, then it may be difficult. If you've practiced cooking vegetarian food in your last life, you'll very quickly be able to cook vegetarian food in this life. If you've practiced playing the mridanga and the kartals and the harmonium in your last life, then you'll very easily quickly be able to play the mridanga and the kartals and the harmonium in this life. Or it can be anything. If you were an artist in your last life, you're easily going to become a good artist in this life. If you're good at maths, if you practice maths in your last life, you'll be easily pick up maths in this life. So whatever it is, that we've done in our previous life. And we all have things that we automatically seem to become very good at. Why is that?
From your previous life.
Because you've done it in you before. It's not you just started now in this life. You quickly pick it up in this life because you're already doing it in your last life. So this life is a continuation of many lives. We can't just see this one life on its own. You have to see it in relation to many previous lives, and also there's going to be future lives. And then that's the way we should live this life. So it's like automatically you become attracted to doing certain things. Like automatically I was attracted to horticulture, to working with plants. So I was probably, and I find it easy to grow things because probably I was growing things in a previous life. And also when I first met a Hare Krishna, I was so attracted to being with him that I just stuck to him like glue. And then I just lived in the community with him and others from that time. I never left. And it seemed like I'd done it before, I felt. Because otherwise, how did I pick it up so quick? That straight away I was chanting 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna. I went from no chanting to 16 rounds. and to, you know, getting up early in the morning and it just seems so natural to serve the deity, to worship the deity and everything like that, and to do service. I just slotted right in. So maybe in our case, you know, that we were doing it in our last life because we just quickly slotted in this life. And many people have that experience, not just us. And some people, of course, find it a bit of a struggle, but they're in the beginning, but still we're attracted. So the very fact, you know, like in both of your cases, the very fact that you're attracted to the Hare Krishna movement and not some other kind of organization or movement indicates that you did have some connection with it before, because you can't just suddenly become Krishna conscious. You know, that Krishna consciousness is an evolution from lifetimes. You know, so probably that anyone and there's verses that talk about that in purports where Prabhupada says that if you're chanting Hare Krishna in this life, you were probably chanting Hare Krishna before. You're probably chanting Hare Krishna before, like that. So we're continuing on towards perfection. And it's saying that, you know, so you were practicing to serve God and love God in your previous life, so you become attracted to it in this life. And any ritualistic activities that don't have that goal to serve God and to love God, or any kind of ritualistic activities within the greater religion, you're not attracted to that. You're not attracted to that. So what does that mean? What is it talking about? Stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. So every scripture, whether you look at Christian, Hindu, or Muslim, or Buddhist, or whatever, they all have many rituals. They have many rituals. And what are those rituals for? Normally those rituals are towards getting more enjoyment in the material world. That's what those rituals are about. Of course, in the Hindu religion, they have the idea of reincarnation, so they know about there's a next life, and they know about heaven. There's a heavenly place, Swargaloka, where you can enjoy with beautiful women and drink soma ras. It's like a kind of intoxication. So they'll engage in rituals, means like different sacrifices, and they'll give charity, and they'll do some austerities for the purpose of taking birth in heaven in their next life, so they can enjoy with beautiful women and drink this like intoxication and stuff like that. So there's many people that they're really attracted to ritualistic activities, and they think there's nothing more than that. They think there's nothing higher than doing rituals. You know, even like in Christianity, right? It's like going to church on Sunday and singing a few songs and putting some money in the box and having a little bit of bread and wine or whatever. That's like every week the same rituals. And they think there's nothing more than that, than going to church for a couple of hours on Sunday. You know, and the Muslims, you know, they bow down 5 times a day. That's one of their rituals, 5 times a day at a certain time, and they got to face Mecca, so they know where Mecca is roughly in regards to where they are in Australia or wherever. So they bow down towards Mecca and say some prayers. And for them, they probably think also there's nothing more than that. That's as good as it gets, as far as you can go. But for someone that's attracted to loving Krishna, who knows about who God is a person. God is an eternal spiritual person named Krishna, and he enjoys hearing his holy names being chanted and people talking about him and everything like that, offering anything with love and devotion. So then devotees will be attracted to doing those things, and they don't care about, that you have to bow down in that direction and you have to go, attend some rituals for 2 hours on a Sunday or anything like that. They're doing it all day, every day. They're engaging in loving activities all the time, not just one time. Like many Hindus, they'll worship Lord Shiva on a Monday and Hanuman on a Tuesday, and maybe Krishna on a Wednesday. I can't remember. So they've got all these rituals. Oh, every Friday you have to worship Ganesh or something. You can't worship him on a Tuesday, but you have to worship him on a Friday. So why is that? It's just become a ritual. And the understanding about rituals too, people that are doing the rituals, often they don't know why they're doing it. And that's what also makes it a ritual, that you don't know the purpose. You don't know what's the goal. No, I just got to do it. Oh, why are you doing it? Oh, I don't know. But you just got to, my parents did it, isn't it? My parents did it, and they told me I have to do it. I have to wave the incense 7 times clockwise, and then, the ghee lamp 7 times clockwise and like that, and wave it around. And if you ask them, well, why are you doing the arti? And they don't know. They don't know. Oh, because my parents said I had to do it. And previously also, the way it used to work in many cultures, if the children asked the parents the question, what would happen? Don't talk back. I told you to do it. Don't talk back. Don't ask questions. Just do it. Just do it. Don't ask why. Don't ask why. And why are the parents afraid of the children asking them why? Why should we do it? They don't know either, because it's just what they were told to do by their parents, So that's what we call rituals. Many times the activities are very good. Like the Muslims bowing down. Bowing down to God is very good, and we also bow down to God. And doing artis, the worship ceremonies, is very good. Offering these articles to the Lord is very good. But what we're criticizing is doing, activities, mechanical activities with your body without knowing why, without knowing the purpose. And that's something that set Prabhupada as miles apart from any other religious teacher, spiritual teacher, because he answered all of our questions why, isn't it? Have you ever found, since you've connected up with the Hare Krishnas, a question that you can't get an answer for? Or that if someone asks you the question, they say, don't ask questions, just do it. Did they ever say that? Do devotees ever say that? Don't ask why. Don't ask questions. Just do what I'm telling you to do. Do devotees ever do that?
No.
Yeah, they'll just say, the answer is this. It's chapter 6, text 44. The answer's there. So whatever the question is, and that's one of the things that attracted me, was that I had heaps of questions. What was the purpose of life? Why is there so much suffering? Who are we? And all this kind of thing. So, and the devotee just rattled off the answers. And why it's wrong to kill animals? So just give you an answer. Why it's wrong to drink and take intoxication? You give you an answer. Why it's wrong to gamble? Why illicit sex is bad? They just give you a very logical answers, very reasonable, very logical, not airy-fairy answers. but very just logical, practical, very logical, practical answers like that. So that's two kinds of persons. One that just does the mechanical, ritualistic activities without knowing why, and then the person that's just going to the essence, just the essential things. My time in life is very valuable, very short. I want to do the activities that are going to give me the best results, and those activities that help awaken my love for God. So that's all I'm going to do in this life. I'm only going to do activities that help to reawaken my loving relationship with God, and that's yoga. So I'm only going to do those activities that reawaken my loving relationship with God. Any activities just for some temporary benefit or like that, or for no benefit, I'm not going to do it. So like that, if they're very advanced in their last life, they'll automatically be attracted to that in this life. Does that make sense? Do you have any comments or questions about that?
No.
All good. Okay, let's get into the purport. Just a sec, just checking something. Okay. Oh, that's better. Some light. Okay. Okay, Bob, do you want to start reading the purport?
Okay. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far advanced in spiritual life. Even if born in families of dog-eaters, such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerity.
Hang on. Where are we?
I think you started it.
I've missed the top purport, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Advanced.
Advanced yogis are not very attracted to the rituals of the scriptures, but they automatically become attracted to the yoga principles, which can elevate them to complete Krishna consciousness, the highest yoga perfection. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, such disregard to Vedic rituals by the advanced transcendentalist is explained as follows.
And you can read that, O my Lord. Yep, O my Lord.
Yep.
You can read below that, O my Lord.
Okay. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far, far advanced in spiritual life. Even if born in families of dog-eaters, such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. The famous example of this is presented by Lord Chaitanya, who accepted Thakura, is it?
Yeah, Thakur
Haridasa as one of his most important disciples. Although Thakura Haridasa happened to take his birth in a Muslim family, he was elevated to the post of Namacharya by Lord Chaitanya due to his rigidly attended principles of chanting 300,000 holy names of the Lord daily. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
And because he chanted the holy name of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas, known as the Sabda Brahma.
Yeah.
Unless, therefore, one is purified, one cannot take the principles of the Krishna consciousness or become engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
That wind's picked up.
Yeah, it's a lot of whistling going on here. So, it's understood that a person is advanced, is a highly advanced soul, if he's engaged in bhakti yoga, of which the most important principle in bhakti yoga is chanting the holy name of the Lord, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the examples given that Haridas Thakur, he was very attracted to chanting Hare Krishna. It's mentioned 300,000 names a day. That equates to 192 rounds every day. He was chanting 192 rounds. So Prabhupada asked us to do 16 rounds, and sometimes people complain that's too much. But he was chanting 192 rounds. So if ever you feel that 16 is too many, just think about him and you'll realize, actually, I'm lucky, that I don't have to chant too many. But it's not even that he was told to chant that, but he was attracted to chanting that. He didn't want to stop chanting. In fact, other great devotees too, like Rupa Goswami, one of Lord Chaitanya's disciples, Rupa Goswami, who's one of the 6 Goswamis, so very famous. In one of his prayers, he says, what is the use of one tongue? How much chanting I can do with one tongue? If I had hundreds of tongues, then I could really enjoy. How can I enjoy chanting only with one tongue? Means he was enjoying so much, he couldn't get enough. He couldn't get enough of chanting. He wanted more tongues. And he said, "Is what good is 2 ears? To hear the holy name. These 2 ears are not enough. If I have thousands of ears, then we could really," means how much they were relishing, how much they were enjoying. He wanted more tongues and more ears to really enjoy chanting. So they're so attracted, these devotees. So that's a sign that they're highly advanced souls. And it doesn't matter where their body was born. Like it's mentioned that Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Muslim family. Now, a Muslim family is regarded as quite a low birth. And that's not just because, Hindus criticize Muslims and Muslims criticize Hindus. So it's not just that I'm a Hindu saying that. Actually, we don't see ourselves as Hindus. But the reason why it's said that the Muslims are a lower birth is because they eat cows. So in Vedic culture, any people that eat cows is very degraded, very low, because the cow is actually our best support, our best friend for developing spiritual life. So it should be protected. So why is that? If someone asks you, why should you protect cows, what would you say?
I think, isn't it because they give us so much? The cows,
yeah.
and they ask for nothing in return.
True. Yep. So they give us so much.
In the Vedas,
what is
one of the mothers?
What is the most important thing that they're giving us? You mentioned
would sustain our life, wouldn't they?
What you're referring to, the milk?
Milk and skin and I'm sorry, isn't that the way I understood it? Was that?
Yeah, it's true what you're saying. That they obviously the skin is used for leather, which we use for clothing. The cow dung is like fertilizer for the garden. It's the best thing for growing.
Urine's medicine.
Yeah, the urine is medicine. The cow dung can even be dried out and burned as a fuel in the fire. So it's giving us so much. And the bull, of course, was used before tractors for ploughing the land and for pulling carts, so you could transport stuff around and transport people also. You know, they used to have the horse in the cart and the bullock cart, so animals used to be used for transportation. So yeah, it's giving a lot. But over and above all those things is the milk. When the human beings take the milk, especially hot milk, it nourishes the brain. There's one part in the human brain which can conceive of spiritual ideas, spiritual realization. And only the human being has that part in the brain, not any other species, not a dog or a dolphin or a horse or a camel or an elephant or anything. They all may have good abilities in different areas, but none of them are any good at spiritual realization. None of them think about the soul. None of them think about God. None of them thinking about serving God. None of them chant Hare Krishna. So they don't have that part of their body which can have spiritual realization, but the human being does. And that part of the brain is, according to the Vedas, is nourished only by milk from a cow, not goat's milk, not the human mother's milk, not almond milk, not soy milk, but only from the cow's milk, and especially when it's drunk hot. The garam, in Hindi it's called garam doodh. Garam means hot, like you have garam masala. So garam masala means hot or sweet spices. Garam masala. So garam doodh means milk. So garam doodh, hot milk, it raises up from the stomach to the brain and nourishes that part of the brain to help us with our understanding spiritual life. It's not automatic that people can understand, you know, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or this spiritual knowledge. We need to have a developed brain, and that developed brain can come only by the cow's milk. So it's not that if you don't drink cow's milk, you can't become a doctor or a scientist or a philosopher or, you know, a good academic or something. So you could be vegan and not have any problem with any of that material knowledge, but we're talking about spiritual knowledge. If you want to comprehend spiritual knowledge, then that cow's milk really helps us so much. So it's said that protecting the cows is the foundation of Vedic culture, and from that protecting cows, then we can take that milk and come to the mode of goodness. And the mode of goodness, sattva guna, is the stepping stone to come to God consciousness, to come to understand God. So without the mode of goodness, it's said not possible to understand God. And that mode of goodness is developed by protecting the cows and taking the milk from the cows. So therefore the cow is to be protected. So therefore any cultures that kill cows are regarded as very low class, because they're not going to develop spiritually. They're always going to remain ignorant. They're not going to come to the mode of goodness. They're going to remain the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion. And we see that, you know, so much ignorance and passion. And it's very sinful to kill cows, and there's going to be big punishment, big suffering. And we see, even like I was hearing recently, you know, usually Muslim countries, they don't get along with each other, and they're always fighting. Even within countries, they're fighting and killing each other. So why is that they're fighting and killing each other? Well, the reaction is, you know, if we kill cows, then we're going to get killed. So then Mother Nature arranges wars and so many diseases, and even this COVID, all the suffering and all these different things, it's all reactions to animal slaughter. And amongst all the animals, especially the cows are the most sacred and should be protected. So if we don't want to suffer, you know, put up your hands if you don't want to suffer. You know, so we should stay away from this. You know, we should avoid animal killing, especially killing of cows is very bad. And Krishna gives special protection to the cows, as we know. That's many of his names is related to the cows, like Gopala. Go means cow, and Pal means the protector. So he's Gopal, protector of cows. Govinda. Govinda means he gives pleasure to the cows, and also means the senses. So he gives pleasure to the cows, pleasure to the senses. So, you know, the cow is very dear to Krishna because he knows, you know, that it's like Bob was saying, you know, giving so much, not expecting anything in return. It's rendering the best service to human society, helping us develop our brains so we can understand who we are and understand who God is and understand our relationship with God and everything like that. So the cow is very dear to Krishna, and the cow should be dear to us too. If we understand the real value of cows, we should want to be connected with cows and to look after them. And that's a very important part of our life. So yeah, Thakur Haridas, he was born in a low family, you know, sinful family, eating cows and everything like that. He wasn't eating cows, but he was born in a family of people that were. Just like we were in the West, you know, most of us Westies, we're also regarded as very low birth, you know, because we're also in the West brought up in a society which is based on, you know, killing cows and eating cows. So we're no better off than like that, a Muslim family. So yeah, it's a lower birth, but the birth that you have doesn't necessarily interfere with your spiritual advancement. That's important to understand. We shouldn't think, oh, I have a low birth, I can't be successful spiritually. I can't become Krishna conscious, I can't develop love for God. I come from a family of cow killers, you know, I don't have a hope like that. No, that's not true. Actually, Krishna consciousness is a transcendental activity. It's just related to the soul, nothing to do with the body. It doesn't matter whether you have a young body or an old body. So if you have a young body, you can become Krishna conscious. It's not that, oh, you have to wait till you get older to be Krishna conscious. No, we got examples. What examples do we have of very young persons becoming Krishna conscious at a very young age?
Rebirth.
Now, what some examples? The question is, what some examples of devotees that they became Krishna conscious at a very early age? You can't say that, oh, you have to wait till you're 16 to become a devotee. Now, what's some examples going back in our scriptures?
Prahlad.
Yeah, Prahlad, you know, the little boy Prahlad, he was 5 years old and he was Krishna conscious.
Dhruva Maharaj.
Yeah, Dhruva also, he was 5 years old and he became successful in Krishna consciousness at 5 years old. And also, and you can't say, oh, you're too old to be Krishna conscious. No, it doesn't matter how old you are either. It doesn't matter how young you are, your body, or how old your body is. There's example like one king named Muchakunda. Muchakunda, he became Krishna conscious just a moment before he died. That's pretty old. Because what does old mean? Prabhupada asked once, one guy, what does old mean? And the man said, old age is just before death. And so just before we die, that means you're old. Of course, no one knows when you're going to die. So, I mean, if I died tomorrow, I nearly died a couple months ago. So, you know, I could have been very old, you know, so it doesn't matter whether your body's young or old or whether your body's rich or your body's in a poor family or you're born in an aristocratic family or just a really, low class family, or you're born in India or born in Africa. It doesn't really matter, because Krishna consciousness is simply the relationship between the soul and Krishna and God. It doesn't really matter what kind of body you have like that, whether you're highly educated or uneducated. There's very advanced devotees that were highly educated, and there's examples of very advanced devotees that had no education. Like, for example, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he had read every book in their school library by the time he was about 12. He was such a scholar. He had a photographic memory. He just reads something once and remember it for his whole life. And yet, his spiritual master, Gaurkishore Das Babaji, couldn't write his name, his own name. Did you get that? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's guru, Gaurkishore was his name, Das Babaji, couldn't even sign his name. Couldn't write. And yet this great scholar, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, surrendered his life to him. Why? What was so attractive about Gaurkishore? Not his education, but his love for God. It said when Gaurkishore would sing a song about Krishna, everyone would cry. If he sung a bhajan, a song about Krishna, everyone would just cry. It was just so much love. He had so much love for Krishna. So that's the criteria. It has nothing to do with the body, but how much devotion, how much love we have for Krishna. And that's not related to the body at all. So anyone can have love for Krishna, because we're all part and parcel of Krishna. So that's good news for us, isn't it? Yeah, that's good, very good news for us. In fact, sometimes if you have too many material qualifications, like if you come from a rich family or very beautiful, good-looking, if you're well educated, and there's one more. 4 things. It said 4 material qualifications. So what did I say? I said born in a rich family, aristocratic family, you have a beautiful body, and educated. So yeah, those 4 things, they can actually cause us to become very proud. So, and that can be a disqualification for spiritual life. So to actually be born in a situation where we don't have those 4 material qualifications can actually be an advantage, that we're a bit humble, isn't it? Because we come from a very degraded background. If I remember my past, it doesn't make me feel proud. It makes me feel very humble that I come from a family of, meat eaters and animal killers and people that were taking intoxication and so forth like that. It helps me to be very humble. So, and what's so good about being humble? Does anyone know? How does being humble help our spiritual life? Any ideas?
Lord Chaitanya says we should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking yourself lower than a straw on the street. No.
Yeah, a straw on the street, yeah.
So
more tolerant than a tree.
Tolerant than a tree. Devoid of all false prestige.
Yeah. See, that false prestige Give all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So this false prestige, this prestige means like pride, false pride. It can, like I said, come about especially if you've got those 4 things. So what are those 4 things again?
I know it was a good body.
Good birth.
Yeah, good birth means like a high family or aristocratic family. Yep. So that's one. Aristocratic family.
Was it education?
Yeah. You're highly educated. Yep.
And money is always money.
Yeah, money, wealth. Yep, you're very wealthy family.
Beauty is
beauty. Be very good looking.
That would give you some arrogance.
So those 4 things can make us very proud. False prestige. And what does pride mean? Pride means we think we're very big. We're very big. We're very great. We're very important. Now, are we going to be attracted to God if we think we're very big, we're very great?
I wouldn't think so.
See, God is very great. He's very big. But if I think I'm very great, I'm very big, is there going to be much attraction there from me to him? No. However, if I think I'm very small, that's what humility is, right? It's the opposite to pride. You think you're very small. You think that you're not very powerful. Pride means you think you're very powerful, very strong. So humility means the opposite to that. You think you're very weak. You think you're very helpless. So if you think you're very small, you're very weak, you're very helpless, is that going to attract us to God?
Yes.
Yes. Because when you think, just like Bhakti Mala's little doggy there.
He's listening to you.
Listening to me.
Yeah.
It's very small. But is it he or she?
It's a he.
He is very, attached to Bhakti Mala, because Bhakti Mala is very big in comparison to him. So, by himself, does he get scared if he's all alone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Times, yeah.
Yeah. But when he's under the loving care and shelter of Bhakti Mala, he's very happy and fearless, feels safe and protected. So us also, if we feel very small, very helpless, we realize we need protection, we need shelter. And who's going to give us that protection, that shelter? That's God. Why God? Because he's the greatest. He's the most strongest. He's the most powerful. Remember, in Sanskrit, God is given the title Bhagavan. Bhagavan means possessing all the opulences, the 6 opulences. Do you remember the 6 opulences of God?
Let Bob have a go.
I don't know if I remember the 6. Well, he was, he had it all, didn't he? Personality, I think. Wasn't he?
What the things that attract us to someone?
Yeah.
They're called opulences. So just think what attracts us?
Well, he was certainly a good looking, like handsome.
Yeah. So that's one, beauty. So God has unlimited beauty.
Knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge. If someone's very knowledgeable, it attracts, like we're attracted to Prabhupada because he's very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Krishna has unlimited knowledge. So 4 more. Bhakti Mala has to get at least 3. Half and half.
Oh.
So Bob just has to get 1 more.
It wasn't to do with riches or wealth. It was not material wealth.
No, it is wealth. Wealth is one. Where it attracts us to someone if wealth. Yeah. So knowledge, wealth, beauty. Yeah, Krishna has unlimited beauty, unlimited wealth, unlimited knowledge.
Yeah, come on, Bhakti, I've got them now.
Strength.
Yeah, so that's the one we're talking about now.
What was it?
Strength. Strength. We're attracted to someone if they're very strong. Isn't it like a woman's attracted to a strong man with big muscles and everything?
Yeah.
You know, so Krishna has unlimited strength. Like he lifted Govardhan Hill for 7 days with the little finger of his left hand. He killed big demons even when he was a little baby and everything like that even the demigods were scared of. So he has unlimited strength. So when we're humble and we feel small, well, where are we going to go to when we feel afraid? We're going to go to Krishna because he's the strongest. He's the strongest. He can protect us in any situation. So we know that, you know, in Vrindavan, when any of the gopis and the gopas, the cowherd boys and girls, whenever they got afraid of some demon or anything, what would they do?
You mean turn to Krishna?
Yeah, they turned to Krishna. How did they turn to Krishna?
Chant.
Krishna, save us! Krishna, save us! So they called out to Krishna. They called out Krishna's names, and what devotees know is that there's no difference between the person Krishna and the name of Krishna. So when you call out Krishna's name, you're actually associating with the person Krishna. So actually God's with us when we say his name. So if you call out Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, you know, then Krishna's with us. Krishna save me, Krishna protect me. Then Krishna's actually with us. And many devotees, they have that experience that they get protected, you know, saying his names and remembering him. So humility is very important. So sometimes coming from a bad birth a low birth can help that. They become very humble, very humble. It's difficult for those that have a very high birth and like that, they can become proud, or they're very good looking, wealthy, educated. Not necessarily bad. If you can, it's possible you can have those 4 things and still be humble, but it can just possibly be more difficult. So there is some possible difficulty there. Of course, if you can have those 4 material advancements and still be humble, that's the best, because you can really do a lot. If you've got that those material benefits, you can use them in Krishna's service. You can use that money in Krishna's service. You can use that knowledge, that education in Krishna's service, and everything like that. So, but it can be difficult. So if we have that humble state of mind and then we chant Hare Krishna, then with calling out with love, because the whole idea is, you know, everyone can chant Hare Krishna, but the main thing is, what feeling do you have when you chant? Do you have a genuine feeling, you know, in you when you're chanting, like in your voice? Do you have a feeling? And, you know, everyone knows that, right? You can say the same word, but one is you can say it mechanically, or you can say it with feeling, or you could say it with anger too, right? You know, so, and it makes a big difference, isn't it? Like other people talking to us, and but the tone of their voice, isn't it? The tone of their voice. It's not just the words that are spoken, but the tone and the feeling that goes with it. Are they saying it in an angry tone, or a mechanical tone, they don't care, or a loving tone? So just like it affects us, you know, if someone speaks to us just mechanically, that you can tell they're not really interested in us, they don't really care, then it doesn't really touch our heart. But if someone speaks, you know, even very simply, but in a very loving way, it goes right to our heart. It goes right to our heart. And just one story comes to mind about Prabhupada. that one time Prabhupada was sitting in a room and he was talking with some guests in India, and one simple village man came into the room carrying a garland of flowers. And Prabhupada was sitting behind a desk, and the man came straight into the room, past everyone else, past all the guests, and walked over to Prabhupada and slipped the garland over his neck, then bowed down and walked out of the room. Didn't say one word. But just came in and offered the flower garland, and he walked out. Do you know what happened to Prabhupada? Because he was talking all the time up to when the man came in. He was stunned. He couldn't speak. He was so much affected by the love of this person. That and how was that love shown? Just by that external activity of offering the garland of flowers, but there was so much love in his heart manifested through offering this garland of flowers, and that Prabhupada was so overwhelmed, he was so overcome by the man's love and affected his own heart that he couldn't speak for a long time afterwards. And then finally he managed to speak, and he said, "Just see, this is just some simple village man, but just the simple act of giving some flowers with love, and how much effect it has on me." And then he said similarly that if we offer flowers to Krishna or something to Krishna with love, how much he will be affected by that. Because just like we're a person and we're affected by someone's loving action, so Krishna is also a person. Actually, our personality comes from Krishna. Actually, Krishna is the most loving person, the most lovable and loving person. He's the most emotional. You know, where do all our emotions come from? Comes from Krishna. Well, why do we have feelings? Why do we have emotions? Well, why do we like people to love us? Why do we want to love other people? Where does that come from?
Well, it's innate in it. It's innate in us, isn't it?
It's innate in us, yeah, but where does that innate quality come from?
From Krishna.
It must have a source. It must have an origin. It didn't just happen by chance that we all have this innate quality to want to love someone else and want to be loved by others. No, that's because we're part and parcel of Krishna. It's the source of that, the origin of that is Krishna. Yeah.
I was just going to say, just to be appreciated means a lot to people.
Yeah, of course. So why do we like to be appreciated? Because Krishna likes to be appreciated. Mm. Why do we like someone to call our name? Hey, Bob. Hey, Bhakti Mala. Because Krishna likes someone to call his name. You know, why do we chant Hare Krishna? Because Krishna likes to hear people that love him calling his name. So we like to hear people that love us call our name. So where does that come from? Come from Krishna. Why do we like to play? When we're young, all we do is play. And also when we retire from work, all we do is play, right? Play golf, play table tennis, you know, play chess, you know, so we don't like working. Put up your hands if you like working. You know, everyone just wants to play. Why do we like to play? Why is that innate? Instinctive innate? Because Krishna likes to play. You know, what is Krishna doing in the spiritual world? He's playing with the cows, playing with the cowherd boys. Does Krishna go to work, go to the office, go to the factory? No, he just plays. He plays around stealing butter, and feeding it to the monkeys and chucking it all his other friends and everything, and having a feast on eating butter and sugar and everything like that. Why do we like butter so much? We were brought up loving butter because Krishna likes butter. So all these things, it all comes from Krishna. So yeah, it's having that feeling. That's what we really want to get to. I mean, we're talking about here mechanical, ritualistic. We don't want to make our chanting Hare Krishna just ritualistic. Oh, it's time now, I have to chant Hare Krishna. I don't really want to, but it's my duty, I have to do it. I mean, that's there, and we do have to do it. We should think like that. But we want to advance beyond that to the point where we like to chant. We want to chant. There's a little book. You remember Bhakti Mala? We had it in the temple.
Yeah.
We had those affirmations, those positive affirmations. Yeah. One of them was, I like to chant. I get to chant. I want to chant. I like to chant. Things like that. So basically it's trying to reset our heart and our mind, that we actually enjoy chanting and we want to chant, not just ritualistically. It's just like a mechanical thing, like someone mechanically offers the incense or whatever like that I was telling.
Is that the little book about japa? The little
Yes, it might. Yep, it could be. Yep, it is a little book.
Yeah.
I think it's called Japa Affirmations, isn't it?
I think so.
Selling it at the moment because I've got a copy at home. I have a look at it occasionally as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a copy too. It's a great book.
I think we've got it at the farm, Bob, as well.
No, I've got it.
You've got it?
Oh, you got it. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we really want to do. We're all chanting, but improve the quality. Not necessarily we're going to go straight away like Haridas Thakur, 192 rounds a day. That's the quantity. So we can stick with the quantity we have, is like 16 rounds, or if you're not there yet, whatever it is, 4 rounds a day, 8 rounds a day.
Yeah.
But we want to try to improve the quality.
Sorry, pardon me, mate. I've got to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna say if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll get ready and head off to the Bhakti tree.
Yes. Okay. Lovely to see you, Bob.
Great to see you, and give my regards to Gianni when you see her.
I will do.
Will you be here next week?
Yes. And then we'll be there in person in a month.
I really look forward to that. I've got to go. I'll see you later.
Okay, take care.
I'll see you soon, Bhakti.
Okay.
Righto.
I remember one morning when I was about to start chanting, and I'd actually had a terrible night's sleep, and I woke up feeling terrible, and it was actually really early. I woke up, it was really early. I had a bad night's sleep, and I was just feeling really terrible, really lousy, and I was just feeling so useless and everything like that. And then, so I was actually feeling very humble, really, really low. But an interesting thing happened. Then I started chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And all these amazing feelings just came up, and I was just overwhelmed, and I started crying and everything. And it was actually became really ecstatic. But those really ecstatic feelings, I realized, and that wasn't coming every day. Usually I'm just very mechanical, very ritualistic. But how was I able to access those very special feelings that day? And I felt it was because of that extra humility that I tapped into, that I felt more lowly and useless than usual. And that helped me to tap into, to access this really amazing connection with Krishna. And my mind just became so stuck on the holy name. It was just amazing. And I got so much taste from that day. But it started off with me feeling just really pathetic, really like useless. So I thought, well, if only I could feel this useless every day. Well, I'm just so puffed up, that's why I'm not able to really enjoy chanting. But yeah, it's like, and then I could comprehend a little bit when the great devotees say, more humble than a straw in the street, more tolerant than a tree, because they're just so humble like that. That's, I could understand why they're just connecting with Krishna so powerfully, because they're just so attracted to Krishna, because of their humility. Like I said, when you're feeling really humble, you become really attracted to Krishna. Krishna, save me. You're my only hope. You're my only hope. Save me, Krishna. I'm just such a useless wretch. Like that, you become so attracted automatically to Krishna. And I was just wishing after that, lamenting, that why I can't feel that humble every day. Probably, my chanting would improve so much. So that was a little experience I had that gave me quite a bit of insight, realization like that. And this is what we really want to be learning. This is the education we really want. Those things that help us to connect with Krishna better, to chant better, And I mean, the main way we connect with Krishna is through chanting. Other ways are there, but especially in Kali Yuga, the main way we connect with Krishna is through chanting. So it's very important, the quality of our chanting. So other things that I've found help access higher levels of chanting is serving the devotees. Krishna is very pleased when we serve the devotees. And sometimes when I've done some service for the devotees, then I had very amazing experiences of chanting after that. And another thing that helped me to experience better chanting was I met my guru in New Zealand, then he went away, and then 4 years later, I didn't see him for 4 years later, I went to Mayapur. He initiated me. And then straight after initiating me, he left Mayapur to go to Bombay, and I had to stay behind. And I felt so much separation from him that day, and the quality of my chanting was just so good. It was just such amazing chanting. So that was also helped access higher levels of chanting, was feeling separation. If you feel separation from the devotees or Krishna, and also, like I said, if you serve the devotees, and also, like I said, humility. Another time, I went to a very small temple in New Zealand, and not many people go there, and they only go there really on the weekend. And during the week, it's very quiet. It's just the pujari doing the artis, and no one comes really. So I stayed there for 3 days, and I went to, because Prabhupada wanted us to go to Monglardi and that, so I went to Monglardi, even though I had late night sleep the first night and that. I went to Monglardi all days, and I sung all the days because there was no one else there. And the last day, I just started singing Samsara Dava Nalalita Loka, just the same way as I normally do. And very quickly I started to get overwhelmed by just very ecstatic feelings, and I started crying, and my voice started choking up and things like that. And then I had a hard time to sing. I had to try to control the feelings, and so I could keep singing. And then the end of the arti, the pujari turned around and said, "Thank you so much for coming. No one comes here. It's been so nice having you here, and you're." And then I realized that that the deities are not just statues. It's actually Krishna's there, and Krishna was enjoying that someone was coming and singing. Otherwise, no one comes and sings for me. Here's someone has come to sing. You know, I'll give him a bit of bliss on his head.
Yeah.
There you go. You know, so like that. So basically, finding out those things that are pleasing to Krishna. And if we do those things that are pleasing to Krishna, then, you know, Krishna reciprocates, and then we get some nice experience. So those are some things that I found helped me to chant better, feeling very humble, and serving the devotees, serving the deities in a special way. And then what I say, and, you know, feeling separation from the devotees or Krishna like that. You have anything you'd like to share, Bhakti Mohan? What do you think about that?
No, that sounds, yeah. No. Thank you for sharing.
Hey.
Yeah, I think the same as you in a way, when things are, you know, probably the most turbulent, and I feel like, oh, I just can't sit down and chant, but then, you know, I do, and that's usually when I have the best experiences, because everything is just crazy. You can sit and have that time with Krishna, and it just sort of changes your whole consciousness. And yeah, I have had some nice experiences. Yeah, especially when things aren't going that great, or if it's really hard, like if I'm not well and it's really hard for me to chant my rounds, and I might put Prabhupada on, just, you know, encouragement just to get it through, and it's really hard, and then I'll get it feels like Krishna reciprocates more, because he knows how hard it is to do it at that time.
Yes.
So it's interesting. But but as you said, it is in times where you're probably more humble than others, because for me, if everything's falling apart, or, you know, my health's not well, it puts you on a different level. You don't feel like, you know, you're this big, strong person, you know.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to feel like that all the time. Yeah. But yeah, I do find that my chanting.
It sounds weird.
Yeah.
That. What do you mean? You guys want to feel really terrible and horrible and that, you know, but actually those material feelings actually help us to access really ecstatic spiritual feelings. Yeah. So, I mean, of course, materialistic people, they want to always feel great and feel good and feel healthy and everything's going well according to plan and so happy and everything like that. No one wants to feel like, you know, everything's falling apart and everything's horrible. I'm useless and everything. But actually, that's what helps us to tap into, you know, ecstatic, you know, love for Krishna. You know, at that point, you know, you forget all the material, bodily, you know, problems and afflictions and everything like that. It's hard for someone that's never experienced it. It's very hard to explain it, because you really have to.
Because it can get mechanical, you know, as you said, because you're chanting every day, and you're like,
yes,
it's this is what I do. I get up and I chant. So it can get definitely.
Yeah.
I haven't been doing it, you know, anywhere near as long as you. So yes,
I'm probably more ritualistic, more mechanical for doing it for 30 years. But it's something we have to always be on guard about, that, you know, because we are doing, it's like the same activity every day, that doesn't just become like mechanical, ritualistic. but know that we did not just using our body, engaging our body, but we also want to be engaging our heart, and it not just external. Like Prabhupada would say, we don't want to be chanting like a parrot, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, because you can just use the tongue, but we want to be chanting from the heart, not just from the tongue. So it's easy to do, it's just all external, just the tongue, and your mind's somewhere else. Yeah. But we want to have our mind chanting as well, fully concentrating with our mind. So that's part of the practice, is like we've been hearing here. Arjuna's also said the mind is so hard to control, it's like the wind, the mind's all over the place. And Krishna said, he says, yes, it is difficult to control the mind, but it's possible by suitable practice and detachment. So Krishna acknowledges it's difficult to control the mind, but if we have the right kind of practice, which Prabhupada has given us a really good program of spiritual practices to help us awaken our love for God, and just to be detached from all the things that are not good, which he's also told us that, stay away from the drugs and the meat eating and all this kind of stuff, that we want to be detached from those things. So Prabhupada's given us a really good program to help us awaken the love in our hearts.
When you talk about serving the devotees, like, I don't know, I try quite hard to serve the devotees, but at times I feel like there's people can take advantage of that too as well. And I don't know, where you draw the line of serving the devotees, because, I'm not like a pure devotee, and at some stage, you sort of think, I'm not doing it to get some thanks, but, reciprocation is nice. But, sometimes if you're that person that is going to serve the devotees, then it's people get used to you being like that, and that, I don't know, I'm struggling with it at the moment, and I guess it's false ego as well. And I find that hard because, at the end of the day, sometimes it will be nice to have some reciprocation, if you're serving the devotees all the time,
But we want to remember where are we wanting the reciprocation from? I mean, ultimately, the reciprocation, we want it to come from Krishna. Yeah. And that's what I was saying, when I've served the devotees, I've got the reciprocation from Krishna, not from the devotees necessarily, but from Krishna, like when I was chanting, or other times. Yeah. Like one time I was in Vrindavan, and I gave one new bhakta, young guy, he was just writing in a notebook and like that, and his pen ran out. So I gave him my pen, and then he did some writing, and then he gave the pen back to me. I said, do you have another pen? He said, I'm not sure, maybe. So I said, you keep this pen, you keep it. And he was very happy. And then I went back to chanting my japa, and I started like crying and everything, so I was feeling, well, God, this is like so good, this chanting. If I could chant like this, I'd give away thousands of pens, millions of pens, because it's just so much nectar. So it's like that, he wasn't a big devotee. He wasn't a guru or anything like that I served. Just a young bhakta like that. But Krishna loves everyone. He especially loves devotees, so he loves all the devotees. So, and it wasn't a big service, it was just giving a pen.
Yeah.
But Krishna was pleased, you know, and then because Krishna was pleased, then I became pleased. So yeah, don't think about that, oh, I'm serving the devotees and I'm not getting much back from them. Don't think like that, because that brings it to a mundane, you know, mundane material kind of activity.
Yeah.
But devotional services, you know, you're serving to please Krishna. You're not serving to please just the particular person, but you're really doing the service to please Krishna. Like we say we're distributing prasadam, but are you distributing prasadam to please the people? I mean, definitely they will become pleased, but that's not your real purpose. Your real purpose is you're distributing prasadam because that's what Krishna wants and it pleases Krishna. So, and then you feel good for doing that because Krishna's pleased. You know, so don't look for just reciprocation from the people. Sometimes it might come and sometimes it might not, or sometimes it might be a bad reciprocation. You know, but don't worry about that. You know, that you tried your best to please Krishna by doing some service for his devotees, and you know, it went well or it didn't go well or it backfired or whatever like that. But that doesn't matter. Your intention was to try to please, try to serve Krishna by serving the devotees. And it's better not to have any expectation of return, because, see, expectation is what leads us to disappointment. Because if you don't get what you expected, then you get disappointed. But if you didn't have any expectation, then you never get disappointed. So like that, I see, and that's why I was trained, and that you just do your duty, you do your service, and don't worry about the result, don't worry about the outcome. And that's what Bhagavad Gita says, and it's throughout as well. And one really good result of that is that you never suffer from disappointment, you know, because you don't have any expectations. You're just doing your duty. And we see that, you know, Krishna, he's just reciprocates so wonderfully. He reciprocates so wonderfully. And but just be careful about, you know, how you're serving. So just stick to the standard ways. You know, like we serve the devotees by giving them prasadam. We serve them by you know, welcoming them and you know, like the guests that come to the farm or whatever like that, showing them around, or like that. They have questions. The devotees have some question, you know, you try to answer, whatever like that. So yeah, stick to the standard ways of doing things, and you give some gifts. Generally though, you know, women give gifts to the women, and the men give gifts to the men. You've got to be careful if a woman starts to get a gift every day from a brahmachari, that might not be, you know, just for the pleasure of Krishna, you know. So you have to be careful. I mean, you know, it depends. See, sometimes, like you gave me the gift of my Guru Maharaj's book, but there's nothing wrong with that. That was just a one-off thing. It's not like every day you're giving a gift or whatever like that. So that was very nice, you know. It was just a pure sentiment from your heart like that, you know, and gratitude and everything like that. So that's perfectly fine. But yeah, we just have to, you know, try to make sure we serve within the parameters of what Prabhupada has explained.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Sometimes you can be getting a bit, maybe feeling like exploited or whatever. Devotees taking a lot of service from us or whatever. I know there was one, he was actually like a senior devotee in a temple, and one new bhakta, he was engaging one new bhakta in serving him personally. So he would get the new bhakta, you know, wash my socks, you know, like really menial service, like washing my socks and everything like that. And he just got that, took advantage of that, you know, very innocent, enthusiastic devotee, wanted to do service and took advantage of him, you know, to just serving him. Actually, you know, we shouldn't expect service from the other devotees for ourselves, but we should engage other devotees in serving Krishna, but not for our own personal service. So that was wrong, you know, for that senior devotee, took advantage of that young devotee to, you know, just every day wash his clothes and wash his socks and everything like that. But it would have been better to, you know, engage him in washing Krishna's pots and, you know, making a flower garden for Krishna and whatever, things like that. So, you know, that was, but even in that case, that new bhakta washing his socks or whatever, he's still getting credits from Krishna. Because between him, the new bhakta, and Krishna is going to be very pleased. He's doing very menial, humble service. But Krishna's relationship with that senior devotee, Krishna would have probably been upset with him because he's actually taking advantage of him. He's very innocent, and he's taking advantage of him being very enthusiastic and just getting him to doing service for him. And so maybe that would be a cause of problems for that senior devotee in the future. But that young devotee, it's a credit for him, you know, it's a spiritual credit for him. But yeah, so there has to be some discrimination there, but generally it's always good to render service whenever we can.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to coming over there. It's exciting.
Yeah, no.
And then maybe you'll come over here, huh? That'll be great.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. Yeah.
Nice.
I spoke to my mum today about minding Simha. So, I mean, she's happy too, but of course my dad's not happy. So she's going to get back to me. But I can probably put him in somewhere to get minded. So yeah. So
I mean, like here we have one neighbor. He's very helpful.
Yeah.
And whenever we've gone away in the past, he's just looked after Vajra.
Yeah.
So you never know. Something might, if it hasn't already turned up, someone might become available like that. You could have a chat even with some of your neighbors or friends or something like that, or even there's, as you know, professional places that look after animals and stuff, pets.
But yeah, I'm looking at coming back with you guys after you come.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So
it's going to be a real festival.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great you're coming for Jamastami. I think that's good.
Because we never planned that. It was just amazing. I was going to come by myself months ago and that never happened.
Yeah.
But this is just working out just perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, catch up with lots of people then too, because there'll be lots of devotees there at the farm as well.
Yeah. It's the perfect day of the week too. It's a Friday, so the people won't have to work the next day.
Yeah.
So they won't have to run back to Sydney or whatever like that. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
Should be quite a big festival.
Oh yeah, because last year we were in lockdown for it as well. So
yeah, and also people will be hanging out to come because they've missed out on a couple of years.
Yeah. So
it should be really big. I know. They had Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri in India recently, the original one.
Yeah.
And they said the crowd it's always huge, except when they had a lockdown there. It's always like millions. But this year it was even bigger than ever before. It was completely jam-packed.
I saw some footage of that.
You saw some footage, yeah. It's just people everywhere.
Oh.
And probably it's like that because they've missed out on a couple of years and they've been stuck in their homes for a couple of years and they just want to get out.
Yeah.
And also, the suffering, so you want to take shelter of Jagannath because it said that if you go there in the Rath Yatra and you see the Lord on his chariot and pull the ropes and all that, it said you won't have to take another birth in the material world. You're going to be liberated.
Wow.
So with that understanding, you know, people are just sick of the material world. It's just a crazy, suffering place. And Jagannath, please get us out of here, you know. So, you know, so many people. It's just like millions. Amazing. They're so ecstatic, so joyful.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Mm.
There was actually one. It goes for many days, but one of the days actually they go from Jagannath Puri to a temple called Gundicha. We didn't go. I don't think we went to Gundicha, but he goes and stays there for a few days, and then he comes back to the main temple. But when he was about to getting off the chariot at Gundicha, then they have an arti ceremony, you know, offer the ghee lamp and everything like that. And then he gets down and goes into the temple. And just when he was coming out of his chariot, it started bucketing rain, just completely bucketing rain. And I think, well, what are we going to do? We won't be able to do the arti. But it was an amazing thing happened. It was pouring cats and dogs everywhere except for around his chariot, Jagannath's chariot. There was like a circle around Jagannath's chariot where there wasn't one drop of rain. And outside that circle, it was like bucketing rain. So they realized, oh, it's not raining here. So they offered everything like that. And then he came down and got off like that. But it was amazing. So yeah, he's the Lord of the universe, Jagannath. So he's in control of the rain also.
What's his name? At the farm. I just had a mental blank. I can't think of his name. The Croatian. What's his name? That we went to India with. Just had a mental blank.
Croatian went to India with.
You know, that lives on the farm. He's Croatian, isn't he?
Oh, Manapati.
Sorry, Manapati. Yeah. He said that sometimes it rains,
but
it doesn't rain on the temple. He's seen it before. Like it will rain all the way around, but it won't rain on the temple and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how that happens.
Yeah, there's many mystical things happening in Jagannath Puri and many other places wherever the Lord is being worshipped. There's many mystical things.
Yeah. No, he was talking about New Gokula. At New Gokula, sometimes he's seen that.
Oh, right. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So wherever the Lord is and he's being worshipped like that, he's present there. Yeah. Many mystical things happening.
Definitely. Okay, I'll get going.
Okay, let you go.
Yeah, well, let me